My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of When Harry Met Sally. And this movie I'm reviewing because it's New Year's Eve, and this movie just feels like the perfect New Year's Eve movie to me. But this is my favorite romantic comedy of all time. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it is just perfection. I love it. I love it. And let's begin talking about the cast. And Billy Crystal is absolutely exceptional here. He has perfect comedic delivery, and he also just has so much personality and charisma. He's just so likable whenever he's on screen, but he can also portray the softer side of his character perfectly as well. Like when he needs to be warm and comforting, he manages to do so. And then you've got Meg Ryan, who I also think is fantastic. This is the best performance from her. She is just so likable and filled with personality. She's funny, she's endearing, and she can also hit those emotional beats. That scene when she's crying about Joel, you legitimately feel awful for her. When she breaks down in tears and is just like, what he really meant was he didn't want to get married to me. You feel for her. And the chemistry between these two actors is pitch perfect. You bite every single second. Like, this movie lives or dies by this chemistry, and this movie soars high. So, excellent job to those two. You've also got yourself Carrie Fisher, who I think does a really great job as well. I just love how her character is constantly talking about that one guy, like, he's never going to leave her, is she? Is he? And then you've got Bruno Kirby, who I think is very likable as well. And those two actors have really good chemistry. And the romance in this movie between Harry and Sally, like, chemistry aside, it's also very well written. I love how they can bicker and fight, but then you can see that they legitimately care for each other. When Sally brings up to Harry about how he was in the past, and he's just like, what's the statute of limitations on apologies? And she's just like, 10 years. Oof, I can get in just in time. It's so witty, but it's also very heartfelt. Or when he's upset over the fact he just saw Helen and he starts insulting her, and then he's just like, can I just say one thing? I'm sorry. They both embrace each other. It moves me. Like the chemistry and the what he just says the right thing when he needs to some of the time. Not all of the time, but I love those moments. I like how we see them talk about everything and anything, and up until they go to bed, they watch Casablanca together. And I love how on the first New Year's Eve in this movie, you can see them realizing that they love each other, but then they fight against that feeling. I also love how you have it so they criticize each other's dates. That's a very honest thing that anyone in this predicament would do. And yeah, like the conflict between them always feels believable. It always feels grounded. And that's a great thing about this movie as well. But then, like the romance, great chemistry, really well written throughout. They're really good friends. They support each other. They might fight every now and again, but it feels very authentic. It feels raw. It's really well done. But my goodness, the ending of this movie is as perfect as they come. This might be my favorite movie ending of all time. I never not tear up at it. It is legitimately one of the most heartfelt, emotional endings. When Harry goes to the New Year's Eve party to tell Sally he loves her, and she's just kind of shoos him aside, and then he tells her why he loves her so much, and then he ends it with, and I'm not here tonight because I'm lonely, and I'm not here because it's New Year's Eve. I'm here tonight because when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, you want the rest of your life to begin as soon as possible. how can you not love that? And when she goes from, see, you say things like that and it makes it impossible for me to hate you. And I hate you, Harry. And then she mouths, I love you to him. And then you've got that song, I forget what it's called, in the background that you always hear on New Year's Eve. And how can you not be moved by that? Like, it is as perfect as they come. And like throughout the movie, you get this great framing device of all these different couples talking about how they met. And they're very sweet and genuine stories. They're moving and they just allow this movie to feel like a celebration of love. And when they start talking over the dance together and New Year's Eve, and we hear they got married in 3 months, and they're telling their story now, it's so good. Like, this is why I love movies. It warms my cold, dead heart, and I love that for it. And I also think this movie, like, deals with other ideas really well, like that mindset of watching all your friends fall in love and get their life together while you're still alone, or how you might deal with a broken heart is well explored, and the differences between men and women. Like, this movie still holds up because it deals with timeless ideas. The script by Noah Ephron is so smart, and I love how even if the characters don't say what they're feeling, you know. Like, the subtext is there. And there's just so many great small touches, like how Sally hated the ending of Casablanca when she was younger, but then she was older and now she loves it and she rejects the idea she would ever hate it. Or how Harry tells her exactly how this friendship is going to go, but it's not until he actually lives it does he actually learn from it. It's something you have to learn from experience. I also like how Harry's and Sally's view of sex explain why they act how they do in the last act. And it just deals with honesty. Like, it's a very honest look at male and female relationships. And that's why, even though it's been over 3 decades since this movie has came out, people still love it. The movie's also really funny. The conversations are really sharp, really funny, very witty. Like, I love when he's talking about combining the obituaries with the real estate. I think Harry spitting out the grapes at the beginning of the movie, and he spits it out on the window, and then he goes like, I'll roll the window down. That's great. I love the scene when Harry's telling Jess about his divorce, and they're at a football game, I think, and they're doing the wave every now and again. The classic I'll have what she's having scene is so funny. Like, it is every bit as funny as you've heard it is. It is such an iconic, hilarious moment. The scene after the double date, well, both Jess and Maria like each other, and they're like, yeah, just give it a couple days though. And they're like, okay, we will. And then they immediately go into a taxi together. That's comedy gold. The entire argument with the wagon wheel coffee table is fantastic and really believable. And maybe my favorite moment in the movie besides the ending is when they play Pictionary and she draws a mouth and she just keeps drawing arrows to it and that's all she's doing. It is one of the most relatable moments ever. And then on top of that, this movie is just really well directed by Rob Reiner. This movie is perfectly paced. It flies by. It is very well shot. I love the outfits in this movie. Both Harry and Sally have impeccable style. And I love how they age Billy Crystal. How in the first scene he has sideburns, and then they shave the sideburns, and then he has a beard. And once you get used to him with the beard, they shave it off. It's never distracting. You actually buy into it. And the soundtrack to this movie is very good. So, like, look, This movie just gives me everything I want from a movie like this. It is hilarious, it is emotional, it is romantic, it is honest, it's filled with great characters, it's well made, it is just perfection. It is one of my favorite movies of all time, with maybe my favorite ending. I just adore it in every sense. So I'm giving When Harry Met Sally a 9 out of 10. And it's because of that ending that it feels like a New Year's Eve movie to me. But, yes. But have you seen When Harry Met Sally? Let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos soon. And Gavin, out.